Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 19. Adishtatat vimatsarastvam
Adishtatat
Tat vivatsasarastam
uktam samatrapi yad avyalikam
uktam
uktam
samadhyat
samadhyatvalikam
avyalikam
aradhayodakshaja padmam
आराधयादोक्षज पादपद्मं
padmam
yadi cha sedhyasanam uttamo yatha.
यदि
yadi
जसे अध्यासनं तमो यथा
yatha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear boy, whatever has been spoken by Suruchi, your stepmother, although very harsh to hear, is factual. Therefore, if you desire at all to sit on the same throne as your stepbrother Uttama, then give up your envious attitude and immediately try to execute the instructions of your stepmother. Without further delay, you must engage yourself in worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The harsh words used by Suruchi to her stepson were true because unless one is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve any success in life. Man proposes, God disposes. Suniti, the mother of Dhruv Maharaj, agreed with her co-wife's advice that Dhruv engage himself in the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indirectly, the words of Suruchi were a benediction for Dhruv Maharaj, for because of the influence of his stepmother's words, he became a great devotee. So this is how a devotee is. A devotee, whatever challenges comes in his way, he uses those challenges as a stepping stone to come closer and closer to Krishna. He uses whatever circumstance he has to, uh, you know, get more devotion to Krishna. This is what a devotee does. No matter what comes his way, he uses that opportunity to revive his loving relationship to Krishna. So Suniti is telling Dhruv, your stepmother is telling the truth. It's better you get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, because by his mercy anything can happen. Now, how do we look at the challenges which come in our way? We can also try to use those challenges that come in our life to come closer to Krishna. Yasyangri Padmam Paricharya Vishwa
यस्यां
Krim
परिचर्य
padmam
विश्व
paricharya vishwa
Vibhavanayata Gunabhipatehe
विभावनायात गुणाभिपते
Ajodhyatishtat Khalu Parmesthayam
अजो अध्यस्तिष्ठात् खलु पारमेष्ठियम्
Padam Jitatma Swasanabhivandayam.
पदं जितात्मा
Swashanabhivandam.
स्वशनाभिवन्द्यम्
Suniti continued, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so great that simply by worshipping his lotus feet, your great grandfather, Lord Brahma, acquired the necessary qualifications to create this universe. Although he is unborn and is the chief of all living creatures, he is situated in that exalted post because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom even great yogis worship by controlling the mind and regulating the life air prana. So Suniti is speaking about Brahmaji. Brahma is great-grandfather of Dhruv because Brahma's son is Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva's Manu's son is Uttanpad and Dhruv is Uttanpad's son. So the father is Uttanpad, the grandfather is Swayambhuva Manu, and great-grandfather is Lord Brahma. We can see, Dhruv Maharaj is coming in a great family, great lineage. And then Suniti is saying, although Lord Brahma is unborn, why is he called unborn, Aja? Because he has no material mother or father. He is born directly from Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And she knows that how is he able to do this service of creation to Krishna? Because he prayed to Krishna. He did austerity. He did austerity for so many years, I think 1,000 celestial years or so. And that's when Krishna gave him the knowledge within the heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva immediately points out, Tene Hridaya Brahmaya Adi Kavaye, that Lord Krishna is the one who spoke the Vedas into the heart of Brahmaji. And because of the knowledge given by Krishna to Brahma, Brahma is able to do this service of creating the universe. Suniti cited the example of Lord Brahma, who was Dhruva Maharaj's great-grandfather. Although Lord Brahma is also a living being, by his penance and austerity, he acquired the exalted position of a creator of this universe by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So he is a living entity. He is a Jivatma. And by his qualification, he's been chosen by Krishna to acquire this post of Brahma. Soon we are going to have elections. The voting is going on. Voting will go on. So then the qualified person will take the position of the mayor. So the mayor is a position and people keep changing. Similarly, Brahma is a position and the person who acquires the post keeps changing. To become successful in any attempt, one not only has to undergo severe penances and austerities, but also must be dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This indication had been given to Dhruv Maharaj by his stepmother and was now confirmed by his own mother, Suniti. So not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. By the mercy of the Lord, anything and everything is possible. That's how a devotee is. He feels himself, he knows the truth that he is completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. We think we are independent. I'm doing it. But the devotee understands the truth that everyone is completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Tatha manurvo bhagavan pitamaho
तथा मनूर्वो भगवान् पितामहो
yam ekamatya purudakshinermakhe
यम् एकमत्या दक्षिणे मखे
ishtvabhipede duravapam anyato
इष्ट्वाभिपेदे दुर्वापम् अन्यतो
bhaumam sukham divyamathāpavargayam.
भौमन् सुखं दिव्यम् अथा पवर्गम्
Suniti informed her son, your grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu, executed great sacrifices with distribution of charity, and thereby, with unflinching faith and devotion, he worshipped and satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By acting in that way, he achieved the greatest success in material happiness and afterwards achieved liberation, which is impossible to obtain by worshipping the demigods. So Niti is clearly saying, if someone wants liberation, we cannot get it by worshipping the demigods. If someone wants a liberation, have to worship the Supreme Lord. She is giving the example of Swayambhuva Manu, who's Dhruva's grandfather. And he's pleased, he's satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He did charity, he did sacrifices, he's doing so many things. Why? For the purpose of pleasing the Lord. Pleasing the Lord. Similarly, our chanting, our hearing is for the pleasure of Krishna. The success of one's life is measured by one's material happiness in this life and liberation in the next. Such success can be achieved only by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words ekamatya mean concentrating one's mind on the Lord without deviation. So Prabhupada is pointing out success means what? In this life, you're happy. At the end of this life, you go back home, back to Godhead. And for this, we are dependent on the mercy of Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, we can get this. Concentrating one's mind on the Lord without deviation. This process of undeviating worship of the Supreme Lord is also expressed in Bhagavad Gita as Ananya Bhak. That which is impossible to obtain from any other source is also mentioned here. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, engage your mind in always thinking of me. You know, our mind drives us crazy sometimes. It will take us to the past, it will take us to the future, it's going to create so many situations. But what are we actually supposed to do with the mind? Engage it in Krishna's service. And then Ananya Bhak, impossible to obtain from any other source. Other source refers to worship of demigods. So we may think that a demigod can help us get out of this material world, but they cannot. They do not have the authority to do so. Only Krishna can do it. Krishna has not given the authority to any demigod to allow us to leave the material world. Even Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they cannot help us to get out of the material world. It is specially stressed here that the opulence of Manu was due to his undeviating faithfulness in the transcendental service of the Lord. One who diverts his mind to worshipping many demigods to obtain material happiness is considered bereft of intelligence. So Manu is a pure devotee of Krishna. Manu is opulent. He's the father of mankind. He's the emperor of the universe. You know, he has so much luxuries, unimaginable to us, unimaginable. But he's a pure devotee of Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, he has this opulences. So Prabhupada is pointing out that we may go to different demigods to get this kind of material happiness. We may ask a particular demigod, then, oh, my desire is not being fulfilled, so let me go to another demigod. But Krishna says that if we do that, we are bereft of intelligence. Why? It's better to go to the boss, you know. If we want to get something done the fastest and the easiest way, it's better to talk directly to the boss, and then it can be done faster. Similarly, Krishna, he is God. We approach Krishna for whatever our material desires are, and Krishna is the one who fulfills them. Because even the demigods are given these powers by Krishna himself. If anyone wants even material happiness, he can worship the Supreme Lord without deviation, and persons who are desirous of liberation can also worship the Supreme Lord and achieve their goal of life. So whatever our goal may be, we may desire material happiness, we may desire liberation, we may desire pure devotional service, whatever it is, we approach Krishna. And Krishna is the one who fulfills all our desires. Did anyone want to add or comment anything?
That first line, I still don't really get it. Success of one's life is measured by material happiness and then liberation. But we
In
should
the
not be
next.
asking for material happiness, right?
But we are not asking for it, but we also want to be happy. We don't want to feel the suffering, right? Bhagavatam teaches us the purpose. Krishna wants us to be happy in this life, and at the end of life, go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna does not want us to suffer. That's what Bhagavatam tells us. That's what the full Vedic society was designed in such a way that each one of us can be occupied in whatever duties are based on our guna and karma. So we are happy doing it, and then we are peaceful, and then at the same time cultivate spiritual knowledge.
But that means if you are happy, material happiness is here. So then it means that liberation is there in the next life. In next. That's what it means. Material happiness in this life and a liberation in the next.
So what Prabhupada is explaining to us is by the mercy of Krishna that we
Okay.
get this happiness and liberation. Everything is happening by mercy of Krishna.
Yeah, that I understood. Okay.
Yeah, it's by mercy of Krishna.
Everything is by his mercy. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the general peacefulness, what is the peace formula? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. And then he tells to Arjuna, without peace, there cannot be happiness. So, how can we be peaceful? Understanding that Krishna is the controller, Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the best friend. Bhuktaram Yagya Tapasam, the chapter 5, text 29. That Krishna is the benefactor of all living entities. He's the beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. So he's the controller, he's the enjoyer, and he's the best friend. When we are able to understand this, then we'll be peaceful. When we are peaceful, we will be happy. Yes.
Yeah, so everything is by Krishna's will, whatever
Yeah.
that happens.
And mercy of Krishna.
Yeah.
Tam eva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam.
Tam eva vatsashraya vritya vatsalam.
Mumukshubhirmekya padabja paddhatim.
Mumukshubir mritya padabja paddatim.
Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite.
Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite.
Manasi avasthapya bhajasva purusham.
Manasavastapya bhajasva purusham.
My dear boy, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation. Just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart, and without deviating for a moment, engage always in his service. So Suniti is giving very good advice to her son. She's like a guru, no? She's telling her son what to do, like a shiksha guru. The system of Bhakti Yoga described by Suniti to her son is the standard way of God realization. Everyone can continue in his constitutional occupational duties and at the same time keep the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. So it's not that we have to leave our homes, give up our duties to revive our loving relationship with Krishna. No, we stay wherever we are. We continue with doing our duties, but we fix our heart and mind on Krishna. This is what even the gopis did. They were devastated when Krishna left Mathura, but they did not leave their duties. They continued. They were taking care of their families, their children, the cows, whatever duties they had to do. But always their heart was with Krishna. This is what we can learn. And Lord Chaitanya also says, stay where you are. Wherever you are, you stay. You chant Hare Krishna. When the Brahmana wanted to leave his family and join Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya said, no, you don't need to do that. You can satisfy me. In fact, you continue doing your duty. You chant Hare Krishna and you speak to others about Krishna. This was also instructed by the Lord himself to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Go on fighting, but keep me within your mind. So Krishna does not tell Arjuna, oh, Arjun, you don't fight now. Arjun, in fact, wanted to go to the forest. He said, I'm going to give up everything. I will renounce. I will live by begging. And Arjuna told him, while speaking learned words, you're being foolish. You think you're being learned by speaking such words, but these words are completely foolish, in fact. In fact, you do your duty. You do your duty for my pleasure. Offer the results to me. That should be the motto of every honest person seeking perfection in Krishna consciousness. So honestly, we continue doing our duty for the pleasure of Krishna. In this connection, Queen Suniti advised her son that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhritya Vatsal, which indicates that he is very kind to his devotees. Krishna is very kind to the devotees. We were reading yesterday in Nectar of Devotion that why he does not want to give pure devotional service so easily. Why is it so rare? Because he becomes a servant of the devotees. He personally takes care of the devotees. He personally becomes the protector of the devotees. Yeah, so here Suniti is also saying, Bhritya Vatsal, Krishna is very kind to his devotees. She said, you came to me crying, having been insulted by your stepmother, but I am unable to do any good for you. But Krishna is so kind to his devotees that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. So Suniti is giving correct advice to Dhruv. She's not telling him, yes, yes, I will take away your pain. I'm the one for you. Don't worry. She's saying, no, you go to Krishna. Krishna is going to give you so much that I can't give you. A million mothers like me will not be able to give you what Krishna can give you. Now, millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. So by hearing such words, we are also encouraged to take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is so kind if we take shelter of him. He will never, disregard us. Krishna never disregards anyone who approaches him. When everyone else fails to mitigate one's misery, Krishna is able to help the devotee. Queen Suniti also stressed that the process of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not easy, but is sought after by great sages who are very advanced in spiritual realization. So bhakti, people say, oh, bhakti is very, what's so great about it? No, it's not that easy. That's the reason many people don't take it up. Yes, it's easy, but yet not very easy. both. Queen Suniti also indicated by her instruction that Dhruv Maharaj was only a small child, 5 years old, and it was not possible for him to purify himself by the way of karma kand, but by the process of bhakti yoga. Even a child less than 5 years old or anyone of any age can be purified. If someone has to do like karma kand, for example, all the Vedic rituals, prepare all the paraphernalia, or call the brahmanas, arrange so many things. Even we are not qualified in Kali Yuga to do it. And Dhruv Maharaj, he was only 5 years old. How is he going to do it? How is he going to do such things? And how is he also going to do the speculative process, try to get knowledge and control of mind and senses, and, do the path of going through the path of knowledge? So, what is the practical way of purification? The mother is telling him the most practical way. Bhakti yoga can purify anyone, any age, any situation. Therefore, she advised him not to accept worship of the demigods or any other process, but simply to take to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the result would be all perfection. As soon as one places the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's heart, everything becomes easy and successful. So, this is the advice that Suniti is giving Dhruv, and similarly, it's an advice for us. If we want everything to become easy and successful, we need to place Krishna in our heart. It's the most easiest way, it's the most sublime way. And the way we can do it is the more we hear and chant. The more we hear about Krishna and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Is that okay?
Yes.
Did you want to add anything?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening and joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.